I am so excited that you decided to come back into the gourmet kitchen because I have a treat for you. Yes, I'm wearing pearls in my kitchen, but there is actually a reason for that. I love Julia Child, and so my husband for my birthday last year got me these pearls so that I could be just like Julia Child. He also got me a cooking class in Paris when we were there on a trip last year. And so today I'm actually going to make you a crepe, which I learned to make in Paris. I also actually brought this crepe pan back from Paris, and we walked all over the place trying to find a store that sold them, and I actually had to lug it in my suitcase coming back from Paris. So today I'm actually doing a French classic smash up, and so what that means is I'm making a lobster Thermidor crepe. You heard it, a lobster Thermidor crepe. So what I have going on here is I have the filling for the lobster Thermidor. Oh, look at that beautiful lobster in a creamy sauce with some Dijon mustard and different spices and onions, and so that's what we're actually going to put into the crepe. And now what I have here is I've actually started the crepe. I've made a crepe, just a classic crepe batter, and I know a lot of people will do buckwheat crepes for savory crepes, but I actually like the taste and consistency of regular ones better. And so we're going to turn up the heat a little bit here. It's been cooking a little bit on one side, and when we see that it starts to do a bit of browning on the bottom, we're going to flip it. And when I took this crepe course in Paris, there's actually a hilarious photo of me trying to flip a crepe for the first time, and I have this funny look as it's flying off the plate. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time, but I have a bit of extra batter just in case. So we're just going to let that cook for a while, and while that cooks a bit, I'm going to explain a bit of the sides and garnishes that I've done to go with this dish. So to add a bit of brightness and flavor and freshness to the plate, I've made an herb puree. The star of that is tarragon, which I think pairs very nicely with the lobster as well. I made a beurre blanc sauce, a lemon beurre blanc sauce, going with the French theme. And so the lemon, the butter, the herbs, and the champagne and the cream in the lobster Thermidor, I think just go beautifully together. Also, I made a potato and cauliflower mousse, which I'm going to put on place on top of that sturgeon caviar. And I bought it here in Ottawa, but it's actually sourced from New Brunswick, where a lot of Ottawa restaurants get their caviar from, and that is just going to beautifully finish off this plate. So let's go back to the crepe here for a second. Have a look at the bottom, and it's starting to brown a bit, so I think in a few seconds we'll be able to flip this, and I'm crossing my fingers that we'll be able to get this flipped, because it is quite an art, and you know, there was a bit of trial and error in this cooking class, and it was quite hilarious when we were all trying to make it through. So we're going to turn this off just for a second while we flip this. Whoa! And there you go. So we're just going to let it cook a little bit on this side, and then we'll be ready to plate up this beautiful dish. I'm very excited about it. Another reason that I actually like to do this dish is because my husband hates seafood. So any chance I get to make my own seafood when he's not around is I always really appreciate it. And as I said in my previous video, I absolutely love French cooking, and so every time I'm hosting a dinner party, I love to go to the French cooking side of things. And in fact, after I got back from my trip, I planned a crepe party with friends of mine from work, and they all thought it was funny that I actually invited them to this crepe party before I actually got back from France. I was still in Paris when I messaged everybody just to say, let's do this party. So I'm going to take this off now, and I'm going to start to plate up a beautiful dish here. So we're going to scoop this lobster, oh look at that, it's just gorgeous, into the center of the plate here. Ooh, it's hot. We're going to roll this up just on the side there. I'm going to grab some spoons. And this is the beurre blanc sauce that I made already. You can see it's a beautiful creamy texture with the butter and the lemon. I'm going to put a little bit just down the side, just a bit of added richness, which is great. This is the mousse that I was talking to you about, which surprisingly isn't that sweet. I'm going to put it down here. Just make a little bed for the caviar. And this is a tiny little container of the caviar, which is just gorgeous. And I'm going to spoon a little bit of this on top, which is just beautiful. It's so decadent. This is sort of your Valentine's Day dinner, anything that you want to impress your guests with. I also fried up a few different of the herbs that I made in the herb sauce. So they're crunchy, which is kind of a neat texture to add to the plate. And I'm going to add those on top of the crepe there. And the final touch is this herb sauce that I made, which is just a beautiful flavor. And I'm just going to squirt it throughout the plate. And there you have it. This is a crepe, lobster Thermidor crepe, which I think pairs beautifully with some champagne, with the caviar and the creaminess. And this is what I'm hoping will get me onto the show. So thank you so much for coming. J'aime cuisiner la cuisine française. Salut et bon appétit!